Tier lists, the new and best way to rank these things these days, so today I'm ranking every F3 driver based off their 2024 season. Going in team order, I'm starting off with Prema and Arvid Lindblad. A record-breaking year for the young Brit, Lindblad impressed everyone this year, it has to be said. Right, embrace yourselves for the whole list of records he broke this season. Arvid became the youngest ever F3 race winner at 16 after his sprint race victory in the opening round in Bahrain. He took 4 wins this year, equaling the most ever won in a single F3 season. And in Silverstone, Lindblad became the first ever driver to win both the sprint and feature in an FIA F3 race weekend. I mean, do these just not speak levels? The kid had an unreal rookie year, gonna have to go an A-star. Next is Dino Beganovic. We've got to be real here. Beganovic really underperformed this season. He went into this season as championship favourite to win as the best returning driver from the year prior, as well as staying with Prema, but he only managed to end up P6 in the standings, which is the exact same position he finished the year before as a rookie. Beganovic did pick up 1 pole position and 2 wins this season, but regardless, it's a C for Dino. From the lowest Prema driver in the standings to the highest, Gabriele Mini just fell short of the title in the final round in Monza after a fantastic year. Like Beganovic, Mini was a title favourite too. Mini achieved P2 in the standings with 1 pole position and 1 win throughout the season, that win coming around the streets of Monte Carlo. Very good year. Suppose he could have done better by winning the title, but nevertheless, A-star. Next we have the Tridents with the F3 champion, Leonardo Fornaroli. For sure the weirdest title winner I think we've had in the new modern era of FIA F3. I mean look, he didn't win a single race throughout the whole season. But look, that dive bomb into Parabolica for the championship though makes up for that. Nevertheless, Fornaroli has still entered the season as champion. Luck has been on his side this year with 0 DNFs. But that being said, Leo still showed the world he is the consistency king, A-star. The same cannot really be said for his teammate Santiago Ramos. The lowest of the Tridents, Ramos managed a lowly P16 in the standings. His highlights of the season will be the pole in Imola and the P2 in the Monza sprint race. I know that he's a rookie, but I don't think that's excusable still for him. Really should be doing better considering his teammates' performances and being one of the strongest teams. Ramos is going in D. On the other hand, his teammate Sami Megatunov had a pretty strong season, finishing as the 2nd highest placed rookie in P8. I was really impressed with his performances. Megatunov's 2 feature race wins are his standout races this year, with both wins in Italy at Imola and Monza. Bit of an Italy merchant, B for me. On to the MP Motorsport drivers now, who had an all-rookie lineup this season, starting with their highest placed driver, Tim Tramnitz. Impressive year from the Red Bull Junior, who picked up a sprint race win in the final round in Monza, as well as 4 podiums on his way to P9 in the standings, making him the 3rd highest placed rookie. A strong year from the German, who I think should be looking as a title contender next year if he stays in F3. He's going in A. Next is Alex Dunn. A really up and down year for the Irishman. Dunn definitely showed a lot of promise throughout the year, podiums in Barcelona and Monza, as well as many strong qualifying performances. However, this all came with quite a few races outside the points. Overall though, a strong debut year for Alex, as you've got to also remember he was one of the last drivers to be announced for an F3 seat this year after he'd been struggling to find the funds. I reckon the McLaren development driver could win the title next year if he sticks around again in F3. C. Now on to Kasper Stuttgart, who really just had an awful season to put it frankly. Polish driver really struggled to get to grips with the F3 car, unlike Arvid Lindblad, who Stuttgart had pipped to the Italian F4 title the year before. Kasper ended up P27 in the standings with 1 points finish, meaning he was a country mile behind his other 2 rookie teammates. He started off the year as a new member of the Red Bull Junior team, but was quickly dropped just a few races into the season. Hopefully he sticks around in F3 for next season so he can push on and develop further, but this year is one to forget. Gonna have to be an F. Now on to the Campos drivers, starting with Oliver Goethe. The Red Bull Junior was unbelievably consistent this year as he scored points more often than Lando Norris lost the lead after the first lap. Goethe only finished outside the points 3 times, one of those being P11 and another being a retirement. Levels. He's replaced the F1 bound Franco Colapinto at MP for the remainder of the F2 season. P7, 1 win, he's going an A for me. Now looking at Sebastian Montoya, it really just was an underwhelming year from the Colombian driver. P17 in the standings with just the 1 podium to his name. Also his teammate Goethe is 10 place higher. Just so lackluster in Sebastian's 2nd year as well. Made too many mistakes too frequently, like crashing out late on in Austria. Oh, and he actually finished 1 place lower than he did the year before. Has to go in D. On to another disappointing Campos driver with Mari Boya. The Spanish driver finished just the 2 places higher than Montoya. So that's pretty disappointing. Like Montoya, Boya was also in his 2nd year and he even managed to improve this time, going from P17 to P15. Oh god, the bar is low. 1 win and miles behind Goethe, another D for me. Onto the Hitech drivers now, and starting with championship contender Luke Browning. Really strong year from Luke Browning, coming off P15 the year before, but also a win in Macau. Browning just fell short of the F3 title, but ended up third in the standings with 2 poles and 2 feature race wins along the way. I was really impressed by him, but quite frankly I also expected this from a driver of his quality. Because he couldn't quite win the whole thing, he's going in A. Martini Stenchorn had an alright year, I'd say. P18 and a sprint race victory along the way is a good year for your rookie year, but he was the 9th best rookie this year. Got signed up to the McLaren Development Driver program as well. Felt like he was always on the edge of scoring points, but I think he should be much stronger should he return next year again with Hitech. C. Now the last Hitech driver. Some say he invented the racing line and that he eats apexes for breakfast. All we know is he's called Kean Shields. My god, what a terrible season from the British driver. Last in the standings from the full-time drivers. Well, I say that. Shields scores 0 points, which is the same as the other 4 drivers below him that made one-off appearances. This is a guy who did finish second in the Euro Formula Open Championship last year, which does sound really impressive until you see he was second out of 3 full-time drivers that season. 0 points, a best race finish of P14. If that doesn't scream F tier, then I don't know what does. Now onto the gone but never forgotten Jenzer Motorsport team, starting with Charlie Wirtz. Okay year from the Austrian driver who finished P22 in the standings in his rookie year. His highlight of the season being the 5th place finish in the Australian feature race, as well as qualifying P6 in Silverstone. Not much else to say on him, going in C. Wirtz teammate Max Esterson managed to finish 1 place higher in the standings in P21. The American driver had 2 point scoring finishes in Bahrain and Belgium, but his qualifying results are what impressed me most this season. He managed to qualify his Jenzer into the top 12 in Bahrain, Silverstone and Spa. Look, I'm telling you, don't sleep on Maxwell Esterson. He's going in C. Now onto the last Jenzer with the Matthias Zagazzetta. Peruvian driver finished last of the Jenzers in P25. So that isn't great for him. However, he did score the same number of points finishes as Wirtz, with just the one this year, that one being a podium in Silverstone, during the reverse grid sprint race, albeit fairly uneventful season as well during Gent's last ever season in F3. They couldn't quite hit their highs when they had drivers like Yuki Tsunoda and Taylor Barnard at the wheel. Zagazzetta goes in D. Now onto the Van Amersfoorts with Noel Leon. Where do I begin? Wow, what a year from the Mexican. P10 in the standings with 4 podiums to his name, finishing absolute mile ahead of his other 2 more experienced teammates. His name is a palindrome too. Do things ever stop with Leon? The former Red Bull Junior had a strong year, getting an A. Now Sophia Flörsch. Such a disappointing season from the German driver. Second last in the standings with 0 points to her name. I had higher expectations from her this season after finishing P23 last year and as the best PHM, Charoux, AIX, whatever team they were last year. Got no choice but to put her in F. Tommy Smith up now, and it doesn't get that much better for the Dutch team. Smith in his second F3 year finished P20 with 1 point finish to his name. Really not great at all, and not much else to add. E. ART's up now, starting with Christian Mansell. The Australian GOAT finished highest of the ARTs in P5 with 5 podiums and 1 pole position this year. If he'd managed to get a race win, then it'd be an even better season. That never quite came together. Big improvement in his second year from finishing P12 last year, A for me. The only ART rookie up now with Laurens van Hoopen, one of the biggest surprise packages of the season for me. I honestly didn't expect that much from Van Hoopen this year given his previous results in other racing series, but he managed to put it together this time out. P13 in the standings with 3 podiums and a pole position. If he does stay in F3 for 2025, then I'd have high expectations for the Dutch driver. B. Now the last ART driver with Nikola Solov. Much better second year from the young Bulgarian after he really struggled in his rookie year. Going from P22 to now P11 is impressive from Solov. Gymnastic! 2 sprint race wins and a feature race win is solid, but it is still a very inconsistent year from Solov. Can't forget though that he is still only 17. If he does 1 more year in F3, then I'm sure Solov can still be fighting at the front consistently. C. Turn red. Gymnastic! No, the newest team now with AIX drivers, starting with Tassanapol Inthropovichak. A very mediocre season from the Thai driver in his rookie year. Spent the majority of the races outside the points until he hit the sprint race in Hungary when Tassanapol finished in P2 on the podium. That was his only points finish for the season though. Now he's spending his off season meeting ISHO speed, going in D. Next AIX driver is Nikita Bedrin. Meh season again for Bedrin with P19 in the standings, which is 1 place lower than the year previous for Bedrin. He did finish in the points on many occasions and did actually pick up a sprint race win in Hungary somehow. C. Last AIX driver with Joshua Dufek. Really dreadful year from the Austrian Swiss driver. P28 in the standings, but would have been a lot lower had he not scored that 1 single point in the last race of the season. Suppose he's the ultimate clutch driver then. Easy F. Now onto the last team with Rodin, starting with Callum Voisin. The undisputed GOAT put up a hell of a season in 2024. The young Brit got Rodin's first ever feature race win in FIF3 and their first in this category in many years when he took the checkered flag in Spa. He also qualified on pole 2 that weekend, demonstrating his talent in that car, which has regularly been at the back of the grid over the years, with the exceptions of Zach O'Sullivan, Clement Novalak and Johnny Edgar in that team. Voisin had also finished first a few rounds prior in Silverstone, however he received a penalty which demoted him down to 3rd. P12 in the standings, but would have been a lot higher had he not been wiped out when running in the points in the final race in Monza. Really impressed by Callum this year after a tricky start to the year, for sure getting an A. Onto his teammate Joseph Lowe. The young Brit ended up in P26 in the standings with 2 points finishes to his name after a really strong weekend around the streets of Monte Carlo. Unfortunately for him, that's where his season peaked. Not bad, but certainly not fantastic compared to his teammate and title rival the season before in GB3, Callum Voisin. C for me. Now the last driver was Peter Wisniewski, another really poor year from the Polish driver who just struggled all year round. He did finish higher than Loke in P23, but that doesn't paint the whole picture, as Wisniewski was regularly last of the Rodins in the race. Wisniewski's only points finish came in the manic feature race in Silverstone, where he finished 5th place. Incredibly, he was 42 seconds behind the leader. This result won't blind me, it's an F for Peter. That's my whole entire F3 2024 driver tier list. All these ratings are right and correct, so don't even try and comment saying where I went wrong. So please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all later.